Hey guys, it's Max Time, and it's 2025, so I wanted to do another diary entry of my state of the collection. I did one last year, I think around the middle of the year, but I do want to start doing this at the start of each year, and then I have a more consistent period between the changes in my state of the collection. So, I'm going to go from left to right, and there will be some changes which I'll make a note during the video from the previous state of the collection. But let's start with this top left one. So this is my G-Shock 5600U, I believe. I really love this watch. This is my go-to running watch. Probably a Apple Watch would do me a little bit better in that, but I refuse to buy an Apple Watch. I think they're really great tools, but I just hate having another thing that I need to keep track of charging. And in general, I'm already addicted to my phone enough. I don't need another notification machine. But yeah, this is my G-Shock. I really love this tool. It's so consistent, so reliable, never have to set it. It's actually the watch I use to set all of my other watches when I do pick them up. Love it. And I also picked up this other digital watch, which is also from Casio. And I don't remember the exact model number, but I will put it on screen. I made a video on this a few months ago now, and I really like this watch. I love the analog look of it. Admittedly, I really don't wear it all that much, but I really like having it in the collection. It's just like a really cool retro but also modern piece, and I really like it. I always end up staring at this second meter. It counts down every 10 seconds. It's really nice to watch. This is my Timex Expedition. This is a very sentimental watch. There is a personal engraving on the back, and I really like this watch. I don't wear it all that much because it's not really, let's say, my style, but it was a gift, so I will never get rid of this. I did actually wear it earlier in 2024 for a Christmas event where the theme was green, and so you had to wear as much green as possible, and I chose to wear this watch for obvious reasons. I also paired it with this Clements FKM rubber strap, which I bought when I met the owner earlier this year. I think it was in September. It was really awesome to meet him. He's a really cool guy, and these straps are so nice and supple, like really soft, really high quality. And I just like the look, especially when paired on this watch. Next up, I actually made a video on this very recently, and I ended up unlisting it because I shared some views that people found somehow offensive, or maybe I just didn't explain my point correctly. So I will try to do that here as a really quick point. In that video, I talked about why I don't particularly like buying homages or buying AliExpress watches. And what I was trying to get across is that I find it really hard to recommend certain AliExpress watches to people because you get such an inconsistent experience with various QC issues. And people did also say, and I admitted even during the video, that Seiko is also known for having a lot of quality control issues. Tudor as well, Yema for sure. But it doesn't mean that just because you pay less money that you should just accept and take those quality control issues. And I really love this watch, and this isn't the first San Martin I've owned. It's definitely not an elitist point of view that I'm trying to push. And it's also just me sharing my personal opinion, my personal experience. I'm not trying to sway your purchasing habits or tell you what to do with your money. I still think they're amazing value for money, but I found so many issues when I've bought them in the past that I thought I'll share that online. So please don't take it too seriously. It's just my opinion. But yeah, this is my latest addition to the collection, actually. It's this San Martin SN008 in dark green. I really love it. The only thing I didn't like about it too much was the bracelet, which I changed for this also AliExpress FKM strap, which also has the same issues. Like, for example, this doesn't sit flush, and it's just these little quality control issues that you can definitely just ignore. But sometimes, especially with watches that you spend, £200 on, it gets irritating to me. But again, that's just my opinion. I really love this watch. And I'm going to keep it for probably a long while from now. Next up is my Seiko SKXs. So the SKX 009 and the 007. These are both gifts from my father-in-law. I think they're incredible, iconic watches. I know some people are kind of over the SKX hype. I like them for what they are. I don't particularly care what anyone else thinks on these watches. I think this is just a timeless design, and this is just a bit of fun. I will try to never get rid of these watches, and if I ever lose my mind and get rid of them, I'll probably regret it. And if you're curious, so this is a Zulu Diver fitted rubber strap for the SKX. Very, very nice, very breathable with the tropic holes. The only thing I don't particularly like is these ridges on the outside. They get caught on things, but it's a very minor issue. And this bracelet is from Miltat. Very heavy duty, thick steel bracelet. The clasp that it came with was not too good. I don't really like fold over clasps because I often cut my nails and then I can't open it. But this is a really nice clasp from AliExpress, which has this diver extension, which works really well most of the time. But I really like this combo. I think the steel bracelet fits best on blue on the Pepsi dial, in my opinion, as opposed to the black, but both look good, honestly. Next up, I have this piece, which is a Vostok Kandisi K34. This is a titanium watch. I have it fitted with Artem strap, with a green Artem strap, which is, I don't know, it feels weird to call it sailcloth, but it's not really sailcloth. It's a type of plastic with another type of plastic on the underside with a leather lining in the middle, apparently. I really like the buckle, the deployant clasp. I keep calling it by the wrong name, but I think it looks really good, really professional, really expensive, even though it is expensive, so you should hope so. This watch definitely needs a service. I think you can tell there is a slight bit of condensation within the dial, which I am aware is a problem with the movement, so over time it might corrode and erode the parts inside. So far it seems to be running well. It doesn't keep its power reserve very well, and that's why it also desperately needs a service. But this is a really nice piece. I think this is probably my favorite Vostok that I've seen, apart from the scuba dude variations. But this is a really cool one. It's got a internal GMT bezel. And speaking of internal GMT bezels, here is probably one of my favorite watches of last year was this Traska Adventurer that I picked up. The hardness coating is no joke. I've dinged watches so much in the past, and this one I've had for a year, and it's just incredible. It looks really good. It looks classic. I love the GMT hand and the internal bezel. The Miyota movement has been completely fail-proof for me. It's been really solid. The clasp is nicely finished, smooth. It's just such a good watch for the money. I think this is kind of an example of, like, you have a micro brand, and sure, the movement is more expensive in this one, so the watch will be more expensive, but the amount of attention to detail with this watch and the finishing and the overall feel is not very far from a watch like this. But I definitely think for me at least, it's worth spending a couple extra £100 and getting something like this. But I guess if you're talking in terms of raw value, obviously these are going to be king. You get so much for your money. But I really like this watch. I've also really loved white dial watches, even though this is the only white dial watch I have. In the previous state of the collection, I had a white dial watch, which was the Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical. And I did really like that watch, but I just ended up wearing it less and less, and so I replaced it with this one. And on the topic of this one, actually, the San Martin I had before that was the SN008, I believe, which was a San Martin original design GMT style watch. and I did really like it, but same as the Hamilton, I just ended up wearing it less and less, and I thought I'm not going to keep it in my collection if I don't wear it. So I should also mention that these Casios, I bought them for different purposes. So this is just a more casual one, and this is more of a sporty beta watch. The watch that it replaced in my previous state of the collection was the Sunto Titanium Observer, which I actually still have because it was also a gift, but that's kind of out of the rotation for now. And I'm definitely rocking these whenever I want a digital watch. Now, the last but not least, last two watches, let's say, I have this Sinn, which I actually bought as a replacement to the Oris that I bought last year. So one of my first videos, actually the first video on this channel, was about the Oris Arctix GT. And I did really love that watch, but I was having a lot of issues with the movement. I ended up selling it and fully disclosing any issues that I did have with it. So I did sell it for a very good deal, and I ended up, with the proceeds of that watch, I ended up buying this one. So the Oris was my engagement gift to myself, and so I replaced it with this, and this kind of took its spot. So this is kind of my engagement watch now, and I really like it. I've made a video on this earlier in 2024, and man, I can't get enough of this watch. Every time I look in my watch box and I'm thinking what to pick up, this is always the opportunity cost of wearing something else. I always wish I wish I could just always have this on, but that wouldn't be fair to all these other guys. I love this watch. If I had to keep one watch from my collection, it would probably be this one. I find it the most versatile, the most capable watch in my collection. Next up is this Oris Big Crown Pointer Date. This is the Waldenbergerbahn edition. This was limited to, how many pieces was it? I believe it was, 1,000 pieces. And this is the 186th. I really like this engraving, first of all. I kind of miss the display case back, but it is only a Solita, so I kind of don't see the point of displaying that. But I think this train looks really cool. Overall, as a design, I think it's a classic. I'm never ever gonna get rid of this watch. This is also a watch that represents when I got onto the property ladder. When I bought my first place, the place that I'm recording this video in now, is my first home, which really means a lot to me. And I think this watch will stand the test of time, and I will do my best to look after it. So that was my quick state of the collection for 2025. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to subscribe if you enjoyed and if you'd like to see more. My next video will most likely be either covering the Oris, the SKXs, or the topic of watch boxes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you around.